Okay, recently I read an interesting book called How to Win at Travel. It's by The Points Guy. You probably have heard of it. It's if you haven't, look it up. It's a pretty good read. I suspect most people who are into travel already know most of the stuff he talks about, but I certainly learned a few things. One of the things I learned was I never really paid much attention to the redemption value for points that I would get. I've bought several flights on points. I typically buy flights for other people on points because I take the money ones and get status. Because nowadays, status is all based on how much you spend, not how much you fly. So, since it's based on how much you spend, I tend to spend the money on myself, and then the points I get, I buy travel for friends and family, mostly family, my kids, my wife. So, I'm going to go and do a couple of examples with you on some redemptions that I've done recently, analyzing in the way that they did in the book to see if I got a good or a bad deal on these points. And it's kind of humorous. First one certainly humorous, and the second one that I analyze is going to be lots of fun. So let's take a peek and switch over to PowerPoint and have some raw numbers here.
Okay, let's go over the numbers for a recent trip. Full disclaimer, this actually wasn't me flying this leg, but it doesn't really matter. It was me doing the points. Okay, so trip UIO, so that's in Ecuador up to Portland, Oregon. So the cost of the fare for on this was on Delta for Delta Comfort Plus was $679. Not horrible. It's a long trip. For miles, it was 45,000 miles plus $99 taxes and fees. So that's not terrible redemption. It's a little over a penny. So if you read the point guy, anything over a penny he's happy with. It's kind of meh though. It wasn't that exciting. But this actually wasn't what I ended up doing for miles because I have a Sky Miles Reserve card, which means that I got a discount on the miles for the ticket. So instead of 45,000, I actually only had to pay 38,200 miles plus the $99 fee. So doing the math, take, I think this is a common way of doing the calculations. You take what you pay off the price to bring it down to what, the points actually got you, which is about $580 in this case. Divide off the 38,200, which were the points I actually ended up using. And I got basically a penny and a half per point. Not terrible, not great. As it turns out, though, this flight ended up being a little better than that because um, the flight got terribly delayed. There was a series of mishaps, and the flight crew got sick. Now, as far as I know, they're all fine. It sounded like food poisoning if I had to take a guess. We were in no rush to get anywhere, so this was no big deal to us. I don't want to minimize the stress and pain for other folks that might have needed to get back to the US. We weren't in that group. We have a particular hotel we like in Quito, and my wife ended up getting like 2 days for free in the hotel. So they comped the hotel. Besides comping the hotel that she stayed in, they also gave us 20,000 bonus miles and a $320 voucher. So if I take those into account, I really only ended up spending 18,200 miles on this venture, uh, plus 99 bucks, but we got 320 in a voucher for that. So that brings the point price up to almost 5 cents per point, which is better. Now, this would not have been a happy scenario if we were in any hurry to get back to the States, but we had all the time in the world. This was a leisurely trip up. My wife was not working, was just heading up to visit the kids. So hanging out in Quito and eating the buffet at the airport hotel there was perfectly fine for her and no problem for me. So this turned out pretty well. Let's take a look at another flight though, too. Now this flight I haven't done. This is just a flight that I'm currently planning, booked. I've booked it. The entire trip's still in the planning phase. This won't happen for a few more months yet. Okay, this next trip, like I said, I'm in the stages of planning, but I have booked this leg of the trip because I wanted to get it booked. So this is Emirates, Brazil to Dublin. So why Brazil to Dublin? That's kind of an odd passage. I had specific goals in this place, and the destination wasn't really any had nothing to do with it, to be honest. The goals here was to fly an Airbus A380. I've never flown an Airbus A380, and I want to. I also want to experience Emirates first class because it sounds awesome, and I want to have that experience. And I want to have that experience on an A380. So, living in South America, the only route for that is out of Brazil, going through Dubai. Now, Dubai, I'm sure would have been a great place to end up just hanging out. But the ticket for a first class trip is $10,500 roughly. That's a lot of money. That's more money than I would spend on an airline ticket because I'm not rich. So that's a lot of money. But the cost of the ticket is roughly the same no matter where you go, which is, one of the airline quirks. If I fly Brazil to Dubai, the cost is still about 10,500. If I fly to Dublin or Madrid or London or wherever through Dubai out of Brazil, it's roughly the same. The miles cost for this ticket is 180,000. And again, it doesn't matter where I end up. I could have ended in Dubai and paid 180,000 miles, or I could end up in Madrid or Barcelona, London, or Dublin and paid 180,000 miles. Of the places that I looked around where I could book this fare, Dublin was one that had openings. I should stress that point because you can't just book first class on points on any flight. It's a limited availability. I had to go out much later in the year, and Dublin was an easier place to book the flight through. Also, it's a place I've never been. I want to try it out. And this flight will be eventually ending up in the United States. So Dublin to the US is a relatively easy ticket to get and doesn't inflate the cost. If I had to fly all the way from Dubai to the US, that would have been more of a problem. So since I could end up anywhere, I picked a spot that was going to get me a relatively inexpensive ticket back into the United States. And it's the same price no matter where I ended up. And also, to be honest, I'm more interested in spending time in Dublin than Dubai. Nothing against Dubai. My roots are Dublin. So 180,000 miles. I got those not through just random chance. That was effort. I took advantage of the 100,000 mile offer from Chase, which I probably should have mentioned on this channel, but I'm sure you guys already heard about it through many other baths. So I picked up a Chase card, got the 100,000 bonus points. I needed to pay taxes, so it was easy to pick those up. Thank you, Uncle Sam. Reasonable use of the tax dollars there. Softened the blow a little bit, getting 100,000 miles with tax money. And and through Amex points. I also combined it with some points I already had on Emirates through other channels, got enough points to pay it, take the 10,000 minus off the 1233 divided by 180, and you get over 5 cents per mile redemption rate, which is a pretty good redemption rate, I think, by anybody's measure.
So I hope you found that interesting. Certainly the first flight was serendipitously effective on the redemption value, and luckily we weren't in any hurry to get anywhere. So in the second one is really going to be lots of fun. I'll be giving a trip report on that one, and I'll let you know how that flight goes. And until then, I'll hopefully get another video or two out here on packing soon. Take care, and I'll hopefully see you traveling. Bye.